I have nothing to say, this concept is just fire. Before we hop into this chat about Record of Ragnarok, please do me a favor and drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Now let's get into chatting. What's up guys, Lego the Pencil here, and let's chat about Record of Ragnarok, aka a really good manga. Like, I have nothing else to say. It's a good manga, that's it. That's the end of the video. Bye. Alright, so I'm kidding, I do have to talk about this. But basically, this manga is so good. And it's mainly like, I'm going to be talking a lot about this manga. And I hope you all don't mind. I know the anime's coming out. Technically, I should wait for that. But I'm not going to watch the anime. Well, actually, no, I am, because of the fight. Regardless, manga's fire. I'm going to be talking about it. And I think one of the main reasons it's so fire is just because of the concept in of itself. Record of Ragnarok, when I first heard of the name, because no, this is the manga that I didn't find out about online. I didn't find out about through the anime being announced. I didn't find out through any of that. A friend of mine literally just like, hey yo, you should read Record of Ragnarok. It's fire. I'm like, ooh, that concept, that name alone sounds fire. Let me see what it's about. So I start reading the manga, and then I realized, oh, so this is a tournament deciding the fate of the survival of humanity. Oh, and how is it deciding it? It's a tournament between the gods and humanity. Oh my, this is gonna be fire, and it's been nothing but fire ever since I started reading it. So, like, do I need to Lubu versus Thor? Perfect opening. Adam versus Zeus. Perfect second fight. Like, Zeus and Alios. Poseidon versus Sasaki Kojiro. Fire. The Hercules versus Jack fight. Fire. Even Shiva versus Raiden. Fire. Like, this series hasn't missed yet. I'm waiting. There's going to be a fight that I just think is an absolute dud. There has to be, because there's no way that this series that is mostly based just around combat, like, we have one side plot and backstories every single fight. However, it just hasn't missed. Like, I'm waiting for, and this is not me plotting on the manga's downfall or anything. I hope it never misses, but like, we're 5 fights in, we're 41 chapters in, and so far every single thing that's happened, every single page schmacks, every single fight schmacks, every single character schmack. Okay, I'll talk about the characters in a minute. However, concept itself, it's just absolutely amazing. It's such a high stakes tournament that, like, it's high stakes for one side only, but technically now upon further reflection it's high stakes for both. Because think about what would have happened if Zeus lost. I mean, he didn't, but imagine if Zeus had lost that fight. Do you know what the state of the gods would be in right now? They would have lost their leader, and that would have been whew. But even still, the ramifications upon both sides, considering that the participants die. This isn't a tournament where, like, oh, I mean, maybe you can surrender, because like they keep talking, like, Hercules offered Jack to surrender. There are times when characters are just like, go ahead, you can forfeit or whatever. But I don't think, if that's the case, I'm wondering. But in most cases, for the first 5 fights, someone's got to die. Everyone has had to die. And that's ramifications for both sides, because not only is humanity obviously losing and inching closer and closer to their destruction, but the gods would be losing pivotal members. They lost Poseidon, the god of gods, the GOG, and they lost Hercules, the bastion of pride and proper justice and all that good stuff. They've lost that. And hypothetically, they could have lost Shiva. However, Shiva won. And they could, and the thing is, there are more that they could lose. Loki, I mean, I feel like none of the gods really mind losing Loki, but Odin could go, Anubis could go. Like, what are the ramifications of certain gods losing and dying off permanently? Like, I legitimately don't know. To be fair, what are the oceans gonna look like now that Poseidon's gone? I don't know. It's a very, the stakes wise of the tournament itself, the concept's great. Moving on to the characters, I think every single character that's allowed to have a character, not like one-off show-ups like, Aphrodite, or really any of the characters in the side backstories like Alcides or Hercules' friend. Like, that's the thing, I forget their names so quickly because they're brought up so quick and they go. However, I think even those characters that have those one-off moments, they're great. They're great at fulfilling their purpose, which is to be a part of a backstory, to be a part of the character and what led them to being what they are now, or just supporting that character. Like the Lady of the Night that was Jack's like sort of caretaker, her supporting him in the end because of course everyone wanted Jack to lose. That's interesting. The humans that were ended up cheering for Hercules because they knew Hercules personally because he was a human first who became a god. That was great. Even some of the characters that exist in the backstory, just like Adamas, like I'm definitely going to talk about Poseidon versus Sasuke at length because I think that fight is fire to a different degree. But man, it's just every single backstory character does great. However, the main character, I got to talk about. Actually, no, before we get to like the combatants, the thing that I like about Brunhilde is that she seems so serious about saving humanity. Like, obviously, the concept in itself, Ragnarok itself, was considered a joke. So like they're like, what's humanity gonna do to us, the gods? We're the best. What are they gonna do? And Brunhilde's like, hey yo, y'all sleep on humanity, but we gonna mess you up. And I think it works because since she's half human and half god, just like Hercules was. I wonder how that works, by the way. I don't see my knowledge on Norse mythology is very, very like sparse, so I'm not exactly sure how the Valkyrie sisters work. However, as they do work in the manga, I'm interested to see like who's their father. Where did they come from? Because none of them look related at all. Like they're called the sisters, but I think that's just like sisters in title and not so much in blood. But I want to know where the half god, half mortal comes from. And I also want to know. I mean, Hercules was never really. Was he a demigod? Did he count? Was he actually Zeus's son? I don't see. It's confusing. But regardless of that, I find her dedication interesting. I don't like the little sister, and I can't wait to see her get volumed and shot out of existence. Hopefully she gets shot. No, I'm kidding. He's probably going to be the last one. I feel like Brunhilde's going to go second to last, and then it's going to be whatever her name is. She's going to be the last one, and then humanity's going to... But regardless, I think those characters are cool. The actual combatants. I love how they always parallel each other. They get more complex in certain ways, and sometimes the manga just outright tells you, like Hercules versus Jack was the ultimate justice versus the ultimate evil. I still need to talk about that later because I feel like Jack really isn't the ultimate evil, especially on that list. However, that's a contrast. You have the peak of it all versus the lowest of it all, Sasuke versus Poseidon. You have two people who really stand as equals, and I think that's very well portrayed in their image. Like, you can see how Lubu and Thor are looking each other in the eyes. They are balanced. They're equal. The only thing that separates them is their origin. One's divine, one's human. And the only reason Lubu lost that fight is because my boy was human. I'm telling you, if Lubu had some godly physiology, he would have at least tied Thor. Like, that would have been a stalemate. And I feel like a stalemate would have been really cool to open the tournament on. But that's a contrast for each other. Shiva versus Raiden. That fight was much more a contrast of Destroyer versus Preserver. It was almost as if Shiva fought Vishnu, but Vishnu was given human form, because that's what Raiden was. He fought to preserve his hometown, while Shiva destroyed things to maintain his own world. And I think that's great. And Zeus versus Adam is obviously man, literally just man versus God. Like that's what that was supposed to be. The peak of humanity versus the peak of the gods, and seeing what would stand up and win. And I think all the combatants are great. Like, all of them have either good to fantastic characters. There's not, in terms of like full total characters, none of them have missed. I like Thor. I like Lubu. I like Adam. I like Zeus. I like Poseidon. I like Sasuke. I like Hercules. I like Jack. I don't know why my brain lags so hard. Raiden and Shiva. I like all of them. None of them have missed. I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to talk about critiques I have for them. But other than that, like, it's just smacking. It's smacking left, right, and center, and I can respect that, because that's hard to do. Like, you make how many good characters? 10, and you have, let's see, it's a 13 round thing. If it goes for all 13 rounds, which I'm assuming it's going to do. I doubt we're going to cut short, which is sad because this manga comes out monthly, and golly's the wait between months painful sometimes. So that leaves 8 combatants. That's 16 more characters are going to have to make up all of their own backstories, which are all altered. And speaking of moving from characters to backstories, I think the structure of the series is very, very good for what it is. Because when I first started reading it, I'm just like, oh, this is just a pure tournament manga. How am I supposed to get connected to these characters? But throwing the backstory in, really helps you understand the characters better, because they're usually contextualized through the fight, and then they're recontextualized through their backstories, and then they're recontextualized again through the second half of the fight. The fights usually go first act intro, second act backstory, third act maybe secondary backstory, and after that you just have the end of the fight for the third act. I think that's a very solid fight structure that's not necessarily going to get boring, because it switches up. Like sometimes it'll be the human that goes first. Like the human got, I'm pretty sure Lubu got his backstory first and then Thor did. And then in the case of Zeus got his backstory first and then Adam did. I like the shifts. I like the changes. That the formula is still there. You can definitely see it. However, it'll shift up every once in a while, and I like that because it makes the formula is good already, but it makes the formula better because it's unpredictable in a sense, and I like that a lot. I think the backstories are cool. I always think they're well drawn, and speaking of well drawn, this entire series is just beautiful. Like, I don't know if y'all saw the video that came out yesterday when I reviewed chapters 40 and 41, but y'all saw me. If you did, you all saw me struggling drawing Shiva, and I drew like just his face because I knew if I tried to draw every single detail on that man, I would have lost my good mind. Because golly gee willikers, is this art just, it's beautiful, but as a person who has to use it as a reference and like look at it and draw it freehand, I'm like, bro, what the heck? And like, I understand why it takes a month, because even if this was only like 18 pages, like, you know, your average Shonen Jump chapter, I'm not sure if you could produce the high level quality of this art in like a week. That'd be some next level kind of mess to produce that quickly, that casually. Whew. Art's fantastic. And the side plot of who is the traitor on the divine side, I like it a lot. So as great as the tournament aspect of this is, and the tension just produced by that, I think having the side plot of possibly Buddha being the traitor, possibly Odin being the traitor, possibly multiple gods being the traitor, I think all of that is super interesting, because it adds an extra layer on top of it, and it creates a rivalry between characters we usually wouldn't see fight, like seeing the seven gods of luck and Loki going up against Buddha, Sasaki, the two other human reps for Record of Ragnarok. Like, it didn't happen. However, the hype that flowed through my veins when Buddha's like, when the guy's like, "What, you want to go?" and Buddha's like, "Hey yo, let's do it, bro." And like the mirth that flew through me in that moment. And we had just met Buddha. We knew Sasaki, of course, but we had just met these seven luck gods. We didn't know Loki that well. We had really a whole ton of blank spots. But that's how you know a manga's good, when it's hyping me up thinking about it and talking about it. Like Buddha about to start. It was so amazing. That's good storytelling if I'm getting that hyped, and just the intrigue left by it, like the way Odin reacted after everyone left his presence, like his crows were freaking out and everything. Munin and I thought in memory, basically they were just going nuts, like, "Hey yo, Lord Odin, you good, bro? You kind of losing your mind right now." All that fire. I can't take it. I can't say it any other way. It's just fire. I got nothing else. And yeah, I think those are like all the main aspects I got to tackle. Obviously, the fights are great. The choreography is good. And honestly, I do have issues with some of the fights choreography. But it's for like their main moments, like the main moments of the fight, I think they're great. I think the mangaka very well understands how to draw action in still images and still make it flowing. Like, there are so many moments where it feels like I'm not reading something, it feels like I'm watching something, like something's moving. Like I am clicking the page to turn it, I am scrolling down, I'm doing all that. However, it feels like I'm reading a fight in motion, and that's so difficult to do. There are so many mangaka that struggle with that. There are people in general who just struggle with that, storyboarding combat. But this mangaka knows how to do it, and it's beautiful pretty much every single time. And while I have my own little minor critiques, they aren't major enough to me to ever say that a fight doesn't hit. So Record of Ragnarok just smacks. Like, that's it. Like, I know shout out to everyone being excited for the anime. I'm excited for the anime, but I have tempered expectations, mainly just, I don't know, looking at that trailer, the trailer like threw me off a bit. I'm like, I know that's the main issue that I had. Like, I wanted Record of Ragnarok to get an anime too. My friend who got me into Ragnarok, wanted to get an anime as well. However, the thing we were both scared of was like, there's a lot of detail on these characters. Are they really going to be able to animate that well? Like, even characters with arguably less detail, like Shiva, still have all these little marks on the multiple lines on his hand. Like, everyone has dummy amounts of detail, and I think it's because it was made as a manga first without an anime in mind. So, seeing it lose all that detail for like the animation process, because it would be nigh on impossible to keep all the details flowing. I'm intrigued to see what the anime looks like. But that's it. Tell me what you guys think about Ragnarok. Are y'all hyped? Are y'all hyped? Like, for my manga readers out there, who do you think is coming next? Are you hyped for the next fight? Please tell me. For my anime watchers who somehow sat through all this video and then just, I guess, didn't care about spoilers. Hey, yo, tell me what you guys are hyped for. Are y'all ready for the anime? I'm going to stop. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.